In the first W, who stood out? My standout player on defense was Jair Alexander. He had the two biggest turnovers of the game. I mean, Adrian Amos started the turnover train when he was able to intercept Tom Brady. But then after that, Jair Alexander on the next two drives immediately after that, he was able to get his hands on the ball. One was in coverage. One looked like he was maybe he was beat on the play, or maybe that was just a call. Maybe he was like in zone and he was just playing off. And because he was playing off, though, Brady was pressured and he overthrew the ball. He threw it kind of high and it tipped off the hands of Mike Evans or one of the receivers, and Jair was able to get his hands on it. And then he also returned it. He got a pretty good return and put them in pretty good field position. So my defensive player of the game who stood up was Jair Alexander. And I think he cemented himself as the best cornerback in football. And coming into next season, I think a lot of people are going to have Jair Alexander on their radar. And I think he's going to be in the top 50. He should be really in the top 25 on the NFL top 100 players. My standout player on offense, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And I called it. I'm so happy for Marquez Valdes-Scantling after having such a tumultuous, turbulent, up and down season where he was maybe the most polarizing figure for the Green Bay Packers. Lots of fan hate mail, hate comments, death threats. I mean, after he fumbled the ball away, the Indianapolis game, he received death threats. And I did believe that he was going to be able to redeem himself for all of the drops and all of the misplays throughout the season. And I called it before the playoffs started, and I was right. And not only that, I believe he should have been targeted more. He had 4 receptions on 6 targets for 115 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that touchdown play, he caught the ball and then he was able to shake off a defender and he ran to the end zone. It wasn't just like like that Lazard play from last week where it was like right down the seam. He caught it with his in stride and he just ran straight to the end zone. He had to actually sort of make a play and he got some yardage after the tackle. Yards after he got some yak. The next question is, what was my biggest takeaway from this game? And I'm probably going to receive a lot of hate for this and a lot of flack for this, but my biggest takeaway from this game ultimately was that Aaron Rodgers is overrated, and Aaron Rodgers can't get it done in the big moments. And Aaron Rodgers in his last 15 playoff games is 7-8, and he's 1-4 in NFC Championship games. And I know that it hasn't always been his fault. There have been times when the defenses let him down, or the coaching could have been way, way better, or special teams had the biggest blunder of the game. But ultimately, if you're going to say that this guy is a walking, surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, and if the narrative around Aaron Rodgers and the media attention he's got since he went on his magical really since 2009, which was his like coming out party to the NFL in that NFC wildcard game against the Arizona Cardinals, when he put up all those points and they lost like 45-49 or something like that, which I believe is still the highest scoring playoff game in NFL history. Ever since that day, that year, that game, people have said Aaron Rodgers is the best to ever do it. He's got the most talent. He's got the biggest arm. He's got the most. He's the best outside the pocket. He can make throws that no one else has been able to make. People talk about how clutch he is, how smart he is, his game managing skills, and all these different like just superlatives. And I mean, if you go back and you watch, rewatch the media reaction to Aaron Rodgers from 2009 to 2011, and it's just like insane how much the media was pushing this guy as the best to ever do it, even though he had only won 1 Super Bowl at the time and he won an MVP in 2011. It seemed like the Packers were going to be Super Bowl favorites and in the Super Bowl conversation, in the Super Bowl game, like every year. And I think you have to ask the question, Is Aaron Rodgers overrated? There's always been a little caveat to every single win that Rodgers had in the divisional round or in the wild card round. But when it came to the NFC Championship game, when the money was all on the line and you needed him to win and you needed him to make plays, he came up short, if you ask me. Where he ranks all time, I mean, I wouldn't even say he's top 3. I don't even know if he's probably top 5. But I would put him at number 5. And maybe not even at 5. He might be at 6 or 7. My next W, when was the turning point in this game? The turning point in this game was at the end of the second quarter, just before halftime, when Aaron Rodgers had the ball with maybe let's say a couple of minutes left. And on 2nd and 17, Aaron Rodgers goes deep down the middle looking for Allen Lazard. And you could argue that maybe there was some pass interference or holding or something on the defense of Sean Murphy-Bunting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But ultimately, Aaron Rodgers threw an interception down at the time only by 4. They were trailing 14-10. Green Bay was going to get the ball coming out of the halftime. So if you go down and you score at least a field goal and make it 13-14, you're only down by 1. But if you get a touchdown and you go up 17-14, you have a 3-point lead, and then you get the ball back out of the halftime, that would have been a major swinging point in the game. That would have been the turning point of the game in Green Bay's favor. But instead, Aaron Rodgers throws an interception, which ended up being the first turnover of the game, giving Tampa Bay all the momentum, swinging momentum back in their favor. And the Packers were never, they put up a fight down the stretch, and they were able to get it close, but they were never able to get the lead. The next W is where. As in, where would I place this loss or this performance by this team on a scale of 1 to 10? Where would I place this performance by this team? I'll say a 7.8. The Green Bay Packers, their performance, they battled back. They stayed in there. Even when they were down 18, they didn't quit. The team didn't quit. The team kept fighting. The team kept grinding. They made adjustments at halftime. They came out and they held the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to just 10 points. They forced 3 turnovers. And really, a lot of my grade for giving them a 7.8 or maybe an 8.0 out of 10 is based on this defensive performance. And yeah, I know at the end of the day, they gave up 31 points. They spotted them early, 21, basically in the first half. But they got their shit together in the second half, man. And I want to give them a lot of credit. I give Mike Pettin a lot of credit. I don't know if he'll be back, but I give Mike Pettin a lot of credit. In this defense, a lot of credit. Adrian Amos, this secondary. Yeah, Kevin King got burnt for 2 touchdowns, but the Scotty Miller touchdown, I'm not really sure what the freak happened there or what he was thinking. There was some criticism for being in man coverage there, but the thing about that is all year, Green Bay Packers fans were saying, why doesn't Mike Pettin just play more man coverage? He's got good man corners. They're athletic, they're long, they're fast. Why doesn't he play more man coverage? And the one time he plays man coverage, everybody wants to crucify him for playing man coverage. And I am far from a Mike Pettin apologist. But if you ask me if Mike Pettin deserves to keep his job, you ask me if Mike Pettin needs to be fired, I don't know, honestly. At the beginning of the year and at the end of last year, I would have said yes, for sure. But after the way he was able to turn things around and he put guys in position to make plays, the players didn't make the plays. I think he needs more weapons. He needs more talent on defense. He needs to get an upgrade at his other cornerback position and at his nickel cornerback position. But I think Mike Pettin did enough. And for the last W, why did the Packers ultimately lose 31-26 in the NFC Championship game? If I had to break it all the way down, I would say 25% goes to the defense for giving up those early scores in the first quarter. All right. 75% goes to the offense. But of that 75, 50 goes to Aaron Rodgers, 25 goes to LaFleur. That's how I break it down. Aaron Rodgers was the person who committed the first turnover of the game, and he gave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the opportunity to even score. So, first thing, Aaron Rodgers. The second reason why I feel like Aaron Rodgers was to blame After Jair Alexander got interceptions on back-to-back possessions, what did Rodgers do? He had 2 3-and-outs. They dropped back and they passed 6 times. Incompletion, which result in 0 points. Another reason why I blame Aaron Rodgers, this offense is predicated on timing and tempo and running the ball. Those aren't 2 things that Aaron Rodgers is really concerned about. Aaron Rodgers would rather throw the ball, and he likes to let the play clock run down to 0 because he likes to try to get teams to jump off sides. He likes to use his long cadence, and he likes to be in control. He feels in control when the play clock runs down. Now, there have been times when he's gone no huddle, but again, he's in control. He's calling the plays in no huddle. So that wraps up the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why the Green Bay Packers lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-26. That segment went way too long.
Puda, you the GOAT, boy.